is Joe Folletta, medical doctor and expert on boxing. Today, he will try to answer a question worth $8,000. Will he make it? And this is Dwyer Clay, used car salesman and expert on Leonardo da Vinci. He, too, will try to answer a question worth $8,000. Will he make it? Both on their way to a possible $64,000 and the playoff of champions where someone will win the top prize of the TV season, $128,000 on the $128,000 question. And here's your host, the star of our show, Alex Trebek.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You're very kind. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to have you joining us once again. This is, as you know, the show that has the biggest payoff of any program on television, $128,000. Now, in recent weeks, it probably didn't seem that way because quite a few of our contestants were stymied by some very difficult questions. But I have a feeling that this evening that is not going to happen because the two gentlemen you saw a few moments ago are really experts. They are both very bright, and they could well go all the way to that $64,000 spot. Let's meet the first of them right now. Sandy?
Alex joining us for the third time on the category of boxing is our medical doctor, who will go for a question worth $8,000, Dr. Joseph Folletta.
Joe, I was looking at the monitor when Sandy was talking about you, and you were in your seat, but you were moving a little in very much the same way as a boxer moves in the ring. Now, I've spoken about you on previous shows, and I said you're a feisty, competitive guy, but you have a look about you, and it looks as if you've got a broken nose also. You look like you could go a few rounds. Have you ever done any boxing yourself?
Well, I've done some competitive boxing back in my public school days in the 1950s. For the nose, though, that was broken by a baseball.
Oh.
But it fits the picture. It's so appropriate.
Do you still have any contact, outside of your interest in boxing, do you have any contact with boxers themselves?
Well, I am the physician for Ontario, Canadian Amateur Boxing Association, the Ontario Division. I'm the chief physician. It's my job to examine the amateur fighters before they go on, be at ringside during the actual match, and of course, one of my chief duties is to pick up any injuries after the match in the dressing room.
And that's very important because that's often forgotten. Okay, on our last program, you answered correctly the questions at the $4,000 level. You reached our first plateau, and that means you've won yourself an automobile, a brand new automobile worth at least $4,000. There is no risk involved for you at this point. You are now trying to answer questions that could get you $8,000 in cash. Nobody knows if you're going to be able to do that. But if you are successful, then you keep moving up the ladder, and you have a shot at that $64,000. So I'll ask Sylvie Garin, our model, to escort you into the booth, and I'll wish you lots of luck, Joe. Here we go. The $8,000 question is in 5 parts, Joe, and as you know, you have to answer each part correctly. We'll give you 20 seconds to think about it. That's a little less than the intermission between rounds in boxing, but I hope you'll bear with us. May I have the questions, please? Mr. O'Rourke. Thank you. If at first you don't succeed, keep on trying till you do succeed. So the saying goes. It is especially applicable to those fighters who have met in the ring many, many times, and in so doing, given boxing fans many memorable fight series. For $8,000, Dr. Joe, answer these questions about boxers involved in a series of fights with the same opponent. First, Baby Arizmendi won 3 out of 6 fights with a fighter nicknamed Perpetual Motion. What was Perpetual Motion's real name? Secondly, who took on Ted Kid Lewis 20 times? 20 times, and won 4 of those times. 3. Who took on Jack Johnson 10 times, winning only once? 4. What heavyweight champ battled Harry Greb 5 times, winning twice and losing once, the other 2 being no decisions? And finally, for $8,000 in cash, what black heavyweight met Harry Wills in the ring 23 times and won only 2 of those matches? Those are the 5 parts to the $8,000 question. You've got 20 seconds to think about it. ready to go?
Go ahead.
Okay, first part. Baby Arizmendi won 3 out of 6 fights with a fighter nicknamed Perpetual Motion. What was Perpetual Motion's real name?
Henry Armstrong.
You are correct. Second part of the question. Who took on Ted Kid Lewis 20 times and won 4 of those times?
Jackie Britton.
You're right again. Who took on Jack Johnson 10 times, winning only once?
Can we skip that one for a while?
All right, we'll take a pass on number 3. We'll go to number 4. What heavyweight champ battled Harry Greb 5 times, winning twice and losing once, the other 2 being no decisions?
Gene Tunney.
You're right there. The fifth part of the question. What black heavyweight met Harry Wills in the ring 23 times and won only 2 of those matches?
Sam Langford.
That is correct.
Now, can you repeat that third one about Jack Johnson?
I will, yes, indeed. Who took on Jack Johnson 10 times, winning only once? You give me a correct answer, and you have won $8,000 in cash. Fought Jack Johnson 10 times, and he won only once.
Joe Jeanette.
Would you repeat that?
Joe Jeanette.
You're absolutely right. For $8,000. Oh, you hung me up there. And I didn't know whether you were going to do it. Oh, you were super. I couldn't help chuckling when I read the question for the first time because it is inconceivable to me, coward that I am, that anyone would enter the ring 20 times against an opponent when they have only won once or twice.
Joe Jeanette won that fight on the fall, by the way. That was a fall win for Joe Jeanette.
One for Joe Jeanette. What about Ted Kid Lewis?
Well, Ted Kid Lewis, he won Jackie Britton won 4. Ted Kid Lewis won 3. I think there were some 12 no decisions there.
Oh, well, that changes it a little.
Jackie Britton had the edge.
He did? Okay, well, you had the edge with us so far. You're progressing as well as another famous boxing expert did on the $64,000 question. That was Dr. Joyce Brothers. You have now won $8,000 in cash, and you've got a decision to make. You go home, you think about what you want to do with that money. Stop now, take the money and run, or come back and test yourself against our questions and try for our $16,000 level. Good luck to you, Joe, in making that decision. Back to Joe Paletta. Good. We've got another great contestant for you to meet right after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
Some of our contestants received the 1978 Buick Skylark is fun to drive as it is comfortable. The Buick, which fits almost everybody's lifestyle, a little science, a little magic. Buick's unmistakable Skylark. And Turtle Wax, the world's largest selling liquid car wax. New improved hard shell formula, cleans, polishes, protects in one easy operation. Turtle Wax with a hard shell finish. And for confident car care, use Kendall Superb All Seasons Motor Oil. Especially engineered for today's driving needs so that you can drive with Kendall confidence. Once again, here's Alex.
Thank you. Most of the people who wind up being contestants on our program do so because they have written in and we have replied and we establish a correspondence and eventually they get to make it to the program. Our next contestant sent us a couple of letters and didn't get an answer. So he went one step beyond to try and get our attention. You'll find out exactly what he did after we introduce him. Sandy?
Joining us for the second time in the category of Leonardo da Vinci is our used car salesman from Cleveland, Ohio, who will go for a question worth $8,000. Here's Dwyer Clay.
All right, Dwyer, good to have you back with us. I told the folks the preamble that you sent in 2 letters and you didn't get an answer from us. We get a couple of thousand letters, and it's difficult to answer them all promptly. What did you do then?
Well, I was a little impatient, so I had a sheet of illustration board that I did a sketch of Mona Lisa on, put a watercolor wash on it, wrapped it like an envelope, and mailed it to the same application letters coming in. So it had to stand out bigger than the mailbag.
How big was it?
Oh, probably 2.5 to 3.5 feet.
Wide by 3 feet high. And that caught the attention of our producers, and that's why Dwyer's here today. And the reason he's here right now is because last week he answered the $4,000 question correctly, and you've got a shot at $8,000. I want to wish you lots of luck.
Thank
and
you.
Sylvie will escort you into the booth, and we'll get things rolling. Dr. Joe has shown you the way. He got his. Bang, bang, bang. Correct. 5 of them. That's what you have to do. We'll give you the 20 seconds to think about it. And your category, of course, Leonardo da Vinci. Great Italian genius. Questions? Thank you, Mr. O'Rourke. It comes as a surprise to many people that in his 67 years, Leonardo produced so few paintings, little more than a dozen, but so influential were these works that many imitations soon sprang up, which for centuries were attributed to Leonardo himself. For $8,000, Dwyer, give the English titles of the following paintings by Leonardo da Vinci. First, what incomplete painting is considered Leonardo's first major work and was intended to be an altarpiece for the monastery of San Donato a Scopeto? Second, what unfinished painting depicts a man on one knee beating himself with a stone? Third, what painting, circa 1483, depicts an animal that was one of Lodovico Sforza's emblems? 4, what painting, dating from 1485, is thought by some to contain a secret message in the music notes found in the lower right corner? And finally, for $8,000, what was Leonardo's last painting, circa 1515, that portrays a male biblical character with disarming femininity? Those are the 5 parts to your question. Think about them. For $8,000. Give the English titles of the following paintings by Leonardo da Vinci. First, what incomplete painting is considered Leonardo's first major work and was intended to be an altarpiece for the monastery of San Donato a Scopeto?
The Adoration of the Magi.
You are correct. What unfinished painting depicts a man on one knee beating himself with a stone?
The St. Jerome.
You're right again. What painting, circa 1483, depicts an animal that was one of Lodovico Sforza's emblems?
The Lady with an Ermine.
Right. What painting, dating from 1485, is thought by some to contain a secret message in the music notes found in the lower right corner?
Portrait of a Musician.
That is right. The 5th part, for $8,000. What was Leonardo's last painting, circa 1515, that portrays a male biblical character with disarming femininity?
St. John the Baptist.
You're right. You've done them all for $8,000. How about that? Not for you. Well, you're a used car salesman, but I think you'd be one hell of a fine actor also, because you looked as if you were going through the agonies, unbelievable agonies in that booth, and yet you rattled them off, the correct answers, without too much of a pause. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Fortunately. It's always so much nicer when you know the answers.
When you say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, fine. You've got $8,000 in cash, and you're in the same spot as Joe. I'm going to ask you to go home, come back on our next program, and tell us whether you want to risk the $8,000 for a possible 16. You want to do that?
Thank you.
Okay, good luck to you, Dwyer. Nice having you with us again. Dwyer Clay. Sharp man. Ooh. We've got a new contestant to bring out and introduce right after this break. We're coming back.
Some of our contestants received the ultimate Buick, the 1978 Electra, embodied in Buick's tradition of luxury, elegance, and prestige. A little science, a little magic, the distinctive Buick Electra. And Prestone antifreeze coolant, protecting against winter freeze-up, summer boilovers, and rust and corrosion for 50 years. Prestone. You need Prestone. And from Luden's Fifth Avenue Candy Bars, crunchy peanut butter, real milk chocolate, too. The bite that's right, that's Fifth Avenue. Now back to Alex Trebek.
Thank you. Dr. Joe and Dwyer have reached the $8,000 level, but before a contestant gets to that point, he or she has to come up with a lot of correct answers to quite a few questions. And we start our contestants at the $64 level. And that's where this next gentleman will begin right after our introduction.
Joining us us for the first time is our probation investigator from Philadelphia, Don Ben.
Don, welcome. At last you make it. Don, I don't want to put myself in an awkward position, but you do not look like what I had imagined a probation officer to look like. I had imagined him to be quite older, much older.
Well, probation officers can be any age as long as they have a college degree in Philadelphia. Most of us range from 21 to maybe 61.
Okay, now what about the criminals you're dealing with? What age do they range?
Well, I'm particularly with adult probation, so we're talking now between 18 and could be 80.
Yeah? Okay, we're going to find out more about your occupation, but right now we want to find out about your category. What is it?
Well, it's got a lot to do with crime, only it's make-believe crime.
Oh.
I'm on television.
You're an expert on television?
I think so.
Okay, we're going to find out right now. Sylvie, would you escort Don to the podium, and we'll start him off with a $64 question. May I have the first question pack, please, Mr. O'Rourke? Thank you. Question number 1 for $64, Don. Good luck to you. The dog on my 3 sons was named Lady or Tramp?
It was named Tramp.
You're right. You've got 64. You're off and running. Television has a lot to do with crime, huh? We'll get you for that, Don. Do you want to keep the 64 and stop now, or do you want to risk it on 128?
I think I'll go on, Alex.
What horse co-starred with Peter Graves in a television series? Was it Fury or National Velvet?
It was Fury.
You're right again. 128. Will we try to double it?
Yeah, let's go on.
On the Lassie series, the part of Jeff was played by John Provost or Tommy Rettig?
The part of Jeff?
Yes, on the Lassie
Could
series.
you repeat the 2 people, please?
John Provost or Tommy Rettig?
That was Tommy Rettig.
You are right. Again. Well, do we try to double it and go to 512?
Oh, sure, let's go.
All right. Which series featured an octopus named Aristotle? Was it Flipper or the Addams Family?
It was the Addams Family.
You're right, and you've got $512. And we have to take a break for a commercial message. We'll be back with more on the $128,000 question right after this.
If you feel you qualify as an expert on any subject at all, not just the ones you see on our program, drop us a line. Tell us first your regular occupation, your category as an expert, and send your name and address along with a photograph to Contestants, Post Office Box 1280, Radio City Station, New York, New York, 10019. That's Contestants, Post Office Box 1280, Radio City Station, New York, New York, 1009. Include your phone number and photographs cannot be returned. Some of our contestants received the First Alert smoke detector by Pitway. Pitway has made over 1 million smoke detectors. Families everywhere trust First Alert with their lives. And from Kinney Shoes, the great American shoe store, a beautiful selection of fashion footwear. Kinney Shoes are with you every step of the way. Back to you, Alex.
Okay, Sandy. Don, you've won $512, and before I get your decision as to what you want to do with that $512, I'm curious about one thing, and I don't want to get you in trouble with your superiors at the probation department in Philadelphia, but when do you watch television?
Well, I'll tell you, as an investigator, you could work any hours. I might be working nights, I might be working days or afternoons, and a lot of work is waiting. And during the waiting, I get a chance to watch television.
And that's how you got to be an expert. All right, you've got $512. You can keep it, quit now, or you can risk it on a question worth $1,000. What do you say?
I'll go on.
Okay, fine. If you come up with an incorrect answer, though, you go home with $1. Yeah, you take the fall, sweetheart. For $1,000, what was the name of Pat Brady's Jeep on the Roy Rogers show?
It was Nellie Bell.
It certainly was, and that's good for $1,000. Do we try to double it?
Sure.
Sure. This $2,000 question is in 2 parts. Name the Western series in which each of the following central characters were featured. First, Rowdy Yates, and secondly, Seth Adams. Now, I'll repeat that for you. I want you to name the Western series in which each of the following central characters were featured. First of all, Rowdy Yates. What was that Western series?
That was Rawhide.
That is right. The second part, Seth Adams. What Western series was that?
That was called Major Seth Adams, the Wagon Master.
Major Seth Adams, the Wagon Master. We have it as Wagon Train, but you are right, and you have just won $2,000.
Me escribe, Alex faut terminer.
Il faut terminer. I love the way she says that. I don't understand what it means, but usually right after Sylvie comes out, they turn the lights down on the set.
Oh.
You have won $2,000, Don. We'd like you to come back on our next program and tell us what you'd like to do, whether you want to quit with that or risk it on a question worth $4,000, okay?
Okay.
We'll see you next time around. And ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to see you next time also on the $128,000 question. Until then, have a good week. So long, everybody.
Some of our contestants receive...